Something awful happens in the body that no one ever sees. When adrenaline and shame pour through your blood at the same exact time, you can almost taste copper in your mouth, a sharp, burning aftertaste behind your tongue. That's what I remember from standing on the makeshift stage in Curitiba's cool municipal auditorium, a rented conference hall that did nothing to cradle my already shaky nerves. The room lights flickered overhead, and I could see every bland face in the crowd of local investors. Gray hair, steely gazes, arms crossed, lips pursed. I gripped the cheap wireless mic in my left hand and tried to keep my palm steady. I'd like to thank you all for your time. My idea is called Canela e Açúcar. It's not just a bakery, it's an experience. A high-end pastry atelier serving French-inspired sweets with local Paraná flavors. My voice quivered before I caught it. The first investor, balding, expensive-looking, clearly bored, made eye contact. "So, you want to sell cake? That's your big pitch?" A couple of others smirked. In the silence that spread after his words, I could hear fabric shifting as someone in the back leaned over to whisper to a neighbor. My chest shrank in on itself. I pushed on. Not just cake. Imagine a milfei, but with maracuja cream, tartwits with jabuticaba, taking classic French technique and elevating it with our local bounty. I prayed my conviction sounded more solid than I felt. A woman with sharp cheekbones, dress suit too rigid for this place, raised a manicured hand. "But it's a chain. You want to scale? How? Curitiba already has its bakeries. It's not about being the next franchise. It's about excellence. People wait outside Dominique Ansel's bakery in Manhattan for hours." "That's New York," the bald man said. "We're not in Manhattan." Their laughter wasn't cruel, just dismissive. The kind of laugh that says, "Grow up, you're embarrassing yourself." My fingers tightened, my vision blurred. Under the fluorescent lights, standing on thin industrial carpet, my dream crumpled up inside me like parchment over an open flame. I pressed on, with numbers, slides, passion, but I could see them mentally checking out, scrolling through their phones. My allotted time ended. My thank you sounded hollow. As I walked off stage, the next person, an e-commerce tech bro, bounded past me, suit crisp, smile oiled, ready for the world. I went to the back, out the side door, and sat on a cool concrete step in the soft dusk. The noise of traffic on Rua Barão do Rio Branco filtered faintly through. I felt gutted, like someone had reached into my ribcage and pulled me inside out. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no new messages, not even from my mother. I thought, maybe everyone was right. That night, after riding the city bus home, after watching people in crisp work shirts chatting about their investments, after catching my own hunched reflection in the window, I trailed through my parents' unlocked apartment door. I could smell beans and rice from the small kitchen. My little sister Fernanda didn't even look up from the TV. "How was your big pitch?" she asked, deadpan. My mother looked up from the stove. "Did you get rich? Will you buy us a new apartment now?" I shook my head without meeting their eyes. "You see, filho," my father said from the table, voice tinged with stubborn practicality. "People want pãozinho, not your French desserts. We're not Paris." I took my dinner quietly, eating with my head down. My cheeks burned with shame. But underneath the humiliation, something still flickered, low and hard to kill. For months, I tried to recover. I worked 2 jobs, neither related to pastry. One in an office sorting invoices, the other stocking shelves at a grocery store. Each shift ground away at the idea I'd carried for years, that sweets, properly made, could be an art form people would travel to admire. At night, exhausted, I'd bake in secret, trying out combinations of flavors the city had never seen. Caramelized banana in black sesame choux pastries, crunchy biscuito de polvillo crushed over pistachio dacquoise. A passion for balance, sweet and tart. Light and dense hummed in me, no matter how many voices told me to stop. Most people who knew me laughed in gentle or condescending ways when I talked about baking. My father, always the pragmatist, counseled me, work at the bank or take a civil service exam. You want security, you're not a Parisian chef. Another friend, Rafa, offered some mock encouragement between beers. So what's next, Matthias? Are you opening a patisserie in the favela? Even at gatherings, I could see the look's first curiosity. Oh, you're the one with the silly cake dream. Then, eventually, boredom, as if I'd become a child too old for make-believe. Sometimes late at night, I'd close my eyes and try to imagine what it would feel like to have made it, to open a door and watch a room's mood shift because they could smell the torch caramel, the vanilla, the citrus twist. But most nights, the sound of the city, the ache of my own self-doubt, drowned it all out. I sent resumes to posh hotel kitchens and got nothing. I DM'd local chefs, offering to stage for free. A few responded, mostly, sorry, we are taking new apprentices, or didn't reply at all. Fernanda, blunt as ever, told me, maybe they just don't like your face. For 2 years, I flailed. Then, one night, the wind shifted. I met Gabriella. I had just finished closing at the grocery. My uniform shirt was sticky at the collar. A woman standing at the pastry counter, rearranging leftover cakes, caught my eye. Her pale curls bounced as she muttered to herself in rhythmic, musical Spanish. She was replacing the same sad brigadeiros on paper doilies. I joked, trying to make them look more expensive? She grinned, brown eyes wide. Not much you can do. They're hard as bullets. We talked. She was from Argentina, trained at a culinary school in Buenos Aires, now working here while her partner studied at UFPR. I told her about my half-aborted dream. Her mouth twisted in sympathy. People mock what they don't get, she said. But you, at least you still bake. We stayed in touch. When she came over, I'd bake for us both. She'd taste, pause, and then say with real seriousness, this is world class. She encouraged me to enter a local pastry competition, the Curitiba Sweet Challenge. I scoffed. She insisted, almost angry. Eventually, she wore me down. I submitted a riff on pain de mel, filled with citrus curd, frosted with bitter chocolate, decorated with crystallized violets. It sounded ridiculous even as I typed out the recipe. But on the contest day, seeing the other entries, all traditional, all careful but predictable, I realized my creation was the only one that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Those minutes, waiting for the judges to taste, were agony. Their serious faces, the small nods. Time bent in on itself. When they announced the ribbon, with my name printed awkwardly beside it, I felt nothing, just numbness. But Gabriella jumped on me, laughing, and for one moment, everything felt possible. That was the first step. The ribbon got me a meeting with a chef named Donna Joanna, 70, famously cranky, owner of a cozy bakery on the other side of the city. Her place was packed every weekend, mostly with mothers buying torta de masa for Sunday lunch. She offered me a weekend slot, shadowing in the kitchen. At night, I worked. I burned myself on sheet pans, mastered piping techniques, learned to make nut pastes. Joanna was tough, harder than any investor or family member, but she respected hustle. One day, she paused behind me as I folded in egg whites. You don't scare easy, she said. Most walk away. I started creating signature items for her weekend specials. One Friday, after almost a year, she let me put my name under a listing, Polo de Fuba by Mateos. That slow, incremental trust felt better than applause. Little by little, I built skills. I saved every cent. When Gabriella's partner's visa was approved in Germany, she left. She hugged me and whispered, "Don't give up, never." And I promised I wouldn't, though I secretly thought I already had. Joanna's health began to fail, and she sold the bakery to a businessman with no interest in artisan pastry. He replaced everything with frozen goods within a month. I stood outside on a rainy morning, staring at the locked disbelievers, skeptics, even old teachers from my culinary course wandered in one by one. That's him, the one who makes the strange cakes. I let the food speak for me. I didn't talk much. I just worked. Years passed. I learned to trust my own hands, not the crowd's laughter. The city changed. I changed. My pop-up became a permanent stall, then a shop of my own, on a leafy street near Praça Osorio. Canela y Açúcar hung above the door in simple gold letters. People lined up for hours on weekends for my passion fruit croissants, my pepper guava tarts. Critics wrote reviews in Veja and Gula. I was invited on local TV. I won the Paraná Gastronomy Prize for innovation. I hired Fernanda to run the register. She rolled her eyes but squeezed my hand under the counter all the same. Success, when it came, was not a thunderclap, just the low hum of finally being right about yourself. Sometimes I would unlock the shop before dawn and feel an impossible, humming joy. But the old voices never quite left, especially when family was near. When I attended Christmas dinners now, my uncles and cousins, who'd once called me Chef Paris as a joke, made awkward conversation about property values, steering the talk away from my now fancy profession. My parents visited the shop sparingly. My father was always respectful, but I could see